Welcome, brave souls, to another episode of U.S. Horror Stories. I'm your host, Ben, and today we are delving into the Bell Witch haunting horror stories. Before we dive into our spine-chilling U.S. horror stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way, you won't miss any of our terrifying tales. In the quiet town of Adams, Tennessee, nestled amidst rolling hills and lush greenery, there stood a modest farmhouse. It belonged to the Bell family, who had become the unwitting protagonists of a tale that would echo through the ages. Our story begins in the early 19th century, a time when the tranquility of rural life was disrupted by an inexplicable force. John Bell, a farmer respected in the community, led his family, which included his wife, Lucy, and their children, into a life of hard work and simple joys. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the Bell farm, strange whispers began to weave through the air. The family, initially dismissing these hushed voices as mere figments of their imagination, soon found themselves unable to ignore the growing unease that settled over their home like a shroud. The first signs were subtle, a creak in the floorboards that echoed through the silent halls, unexplained drafts that danced through closed windows. Yet, it wasn't long before the whispers evolved into distinct voices, murmuring secrets that only the wind seemed privy to. The Bell family, perplexed and increasingly alarmed, could no longer attribute these occurrences to the ordinary workings of their farmhouse. John, a man of logic and reason, tried to maintain a stoic demeanor in the face of the inexplicable. Lucy, however, felt a knot of anxiety tightening within her. Their children, too young to fully grasp the gravity of the situation, sensed an otherworldly presence that lingered in the corners of their rooms. One fateful night, as the moon hung low in the sky, the whispers coalesced into words, an eerie voice that seemed to speak with a familiarity that sent shivers down the spines of the Bell family. The entity, as yet unseen, introduced itself as the Bell Witch, claiming a connection to the land and a mission that only time would unveil. Little did the Bells know, their tranquil farmhouse had become the stage for a haunting that would challenge the boundaries of belief and test the very fabric of their family bonds. The whispers in the wind had only just begun, and with them the tale of the Bell Witch would unfold, drawing the family into a supernatural drama that would leave an indelible mark on history. As the days turned into nights on the Bell farm, the once peaceful abode became a canvas for the mysterious strokes of the supernatural. The Bell family, now acutely aware that something beyond the realm of understanding was afoot, found themselves caught in the currents of an enigmatic force. It all began innocently enough. The gentle rustle of leaves outside their windows, and the distant howls of coyotes on the prowl. However, these familiar sounds soon morphed into an unsettling cacophony that permeated the very walls of the farmhouse. The family's once serene evenings were now punctuated by strange knocks and raps that echoed through the rooms like ghostly footsteps. One chilly evening, as the family gathered around the fireplace, the atmosphere thickened with an unspoken tension. A sudden chill enveloped the room, and the flames flickered erratically, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The family exchanged uneasy glances, their collective breath visible in the cold air. Then, a soft voice emerged from the shadows, speaking words that seemed to materialize from the very fabric of the night. It was the Bell Witch, making its presence felt in a way that sent shivers down the spines of the family members. The entity spoke of secrets long buried, of tales that echoed through time, and its words carried a weight that hung in the air like an ancient incantation. The once familiar homestead now felt like an unfamiliar realm where reality blurred with the supernatural. Objects moved of their own accord, doors creaked open in the dead of night, and unseen hands seemed to brush against the skin of the unsuspecting family members. Fear became a constant companion, a silent specter that hovered in the corners of every room. The Bell family, grappling with the unexplainable, began to keep detailed accounts of these eerie events. John, the patriarch, maintained a ledger documenting the time, place, and nature of each occurrence, hoping that some pattern might emerge to unravel the mystery that had taken residence in their home. As the early signs of the supernatural unfolded, the Bell family stood at the threshold of a journey into the unknown, where the whispers in the shadows hinted at a tale that was both captivating and unsettling. Little did they realize that these initial manifestations were but the prelude to a haunting that would transcend the boundaries of reason and plunge them into a realm where reality and the ethereal converged in a dance of the unexplained. In the heart of the Bell homestead, where shadows played with moonlight, the mysterious entity that had woven itself into the fabric of the family's existence decided to step from the veil of the unseen and reveal its true nature. One night, when the air was thick with anticipation and the moon cast an ethereal glow upon the Bell farmhouse, the family gathered in the dimly lit living room. The atmosphere hung heavy, charged with an energy that seemed to vibrate through the very walls. The creaking of the floorboards beneath their feet added an eerie rhythm to the silence. Suddenly, a voice, both captivating and haunting, resonated through the room. It was the Bell Witch, no longer content to be a mere whisper in the dark. The entity spoke with a cadence that mirrored the ancient murmurs of the forest, weaving tales of forgotten times and unspoken truths. The family, captivated and apprehensive, listened as the entity revealed its connection to the land, claiming a history entwined with the very roots of the Bell farm. As the voice continued, a subtle glow enveloped the room, casting an otherworldly light that danced across the faces of the Bell family. The entity, though unseen, seemed to possess an ethereal presence that left an indelible imprint on their senses. It spoke of love lost and grievances unaddressed, of a spirit that sought solace in the mortal realm. Lucy Bell, the matriarch, felt a chill run down her spine as the entity addressed her directly, recounting details of her past that had long been buried in the recesses of memory. The room, once filled with skepticism, now resonated with an air of acceptance, an acknowledgement that they were no longer alone in their struggle against the inexplicable. The Bell Witch, in revealing itself, had opened a door to a realm where the boundaries between the living and the spectral were blurred. Its words carried a weight that transcended the material world, leaving the family suspended in a moment that felt both timeless and ephemeral. As the night unfolded, the Bell family found themselves entangled in a dance with the unseen, unsure of where the steps would lead and what revelations awaited in the shadows. The mysterious entity, having stepped into the spotlight, set the stage for a haunting that would challenge their understanding of reality and beckon them further into a realm where the lines between the tangible and the ethereal continued to blur. News of the Bell Witch's presence within the confines of the farmhouse spread like wildfire, carried by the wind to the ears of the tightly knit community of Adams, Tennessee. The once tranquil town found itself at the epicenter of a mystery that both fascinated and unsettled its residents. Whispers became echoes as the tale of the Bell family's supernatural encounters reached the eager ears of neighbors and friends. The local store, usually abuzz with mundane chatter, now hummed with an undercurrent of speculative discussions about the inexplicable events unfolding on the Bell farm. Skeptics dismissed the stories as fanciful exaggerations, while others, drawn by a sense of curiosity and the allure of the supernatural, dared to venture closer to the epicenter of the mystery. The Bell family, once pillars of the community, now felt the weight of skepticism and judgment pressing down upon them. John Bell, in particular, found himself facing growing tensions as some accused him of weaving a grandiose tale to attract attention, or, worse yet, to conceal secrets that had long festered beneath the surface. As the community's interest intensified, so did the scrutiny on the Bell household. Local gatherings became platforms for speculation, with hushed conversations punctuated by knowing glances and raised eyebrows. Lucy, the matriarch, felt the weight of judgment in the eyes of her neighbors, sensing the erosion of the once solid foundations of trust. Religious leaders, alarmed by the tales of the supernatural, visited the Bell farm to offer prayers and seek divine intervention. However, the entity seemed impervious to the traditional rites and rituals, its presence undeterred by the attempts to banish it. The tension in the community only deepened as religious figures grappled with the limits of their influence over the unseen forces that held sway over the Bell family. In the midst of growing skepticism and communal unease, the Bell family struggled to maintain a semblance of normalcy. The supernatural occurrences, once confined to the privacy of their home, now echoed through the very fabric of their social existence. The farmhouse, once a sanctuary, became a focal point for both fascination and fear. As tensions simmered and the community held its collective breath, the Bell family stood at the crossroads of acceptance and ostracization, their fate entwined with the ethereal forces that had chosen their home as the stage for a haunting that defied explanation. The once muted whispers now reverberated through the town, creating a tapestry of intrigue and suspicion that stretched beyond the boundaries of the Bell farm. In the wake of growing tensions within the community, the Bell family turned to the solace of their faith, seeking answers from the religious leaders of Adams. The whispers of the Bell Witch had not only shaken their household, but had also rattled the foundations of their spiritual beliefs. A solemn gathering was convened within the walls of the Bell farmhouse, where local ministers, their faces etched with determination, joined the family in their struggle against the unseen entity. Bibles in hand and prayers on their lips, they sought to banish the malevolent force that had ensnared the Bell family in its ethereal grip. The air in the room became charged with palpable anticipation as the religious leaders commenced their prayers. The flickering candlelight cast elongated shadows on the walls, and the creaking floorboards seemed to respond in eerie cadence. The entity, however, remained elusive, taunting the assembled group with its presence, but eluding direct confrontation. The ministers, undeterred, invoked the powers of heaven and hell, beseeching divine intervention to expel the intruder from the Bell household. But with each prayer uttered, the entity's responses grew more cryptic, as if mocking the very rituals meant to drive it away. Lucy Bell, her face a portrait of hope and desperation, clutched her rosary tightly, her eyes flickering between the ministers and the unseen force that defied the boundaries of the mortal and the divine. The children, wide-eyed and innocent, bore witness to a battle that transcended the physical realm. As the night wore on, the struggle between the religious figures and the Bell Witch reached a crescendo. Unearthly sounds reverberated through the farmhouse, causing the flickering flames to dance in chaotic patterns. Shadows seemed to morph into phantasmal shapes, and a palpable tension hung in the air. Yet, despite the fervent prayers and solemn incantations, the entity persisted, its presence a haunting reminder that the battle for the Bell family's sanctity was far from over. The religious leaders, confounded by the elusiveness of the supernatural, left the farmhouse that night with furrowed brows and a sense of foreboding. The involvement of religious figures had brought a temporary respite, but the Bell family stood at the crossroads of faith and doubt, their struggle against the unseen entering a new phase. The entity, having weathered the storm of spiritual confrontation, continued to cast its enigmatic shadow over the farmhouse, leaving the family to grapple with the unsettling realization that some battles transcended the boundaries of the mortal and the divine. As the moon waxed and waned over the Bell farmhouse, the paranormal activity that had once been a subdued murmur now crescendoed into a haunting symphony of the unexplained. The entity, undeterred by the prayers and rituals of the religious leaders, seemed to revel in its newfound prominence, escalating its ethereal performance within the walls of the Bell home. The once muted whispers now echoed through the halls with an eerie clarity, forming words that resonated with a spectral eloquence. Objects danced through the air as if choreographed by an unseen hand, creating a surreal ballet that defied the laws of gravity. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp and twist in response to the entity's capricious whims. Doors slammed shut with a force that rattled the foundation of the farmhouse, and windows shook in their frames as if attempting to break free from their earthly confines. The air crackled with energy, and a cold mist enveloped certain corners of the rooms, leaving a tangible chill in its wake. The Bell family, once observers of the supernatural, now found themselves entangled in a dance with the otherworldly. Sleep became elusive as the entity's nocturnal antics disrupted the once peaceful nights. Footsteps echoed through empty corridors, and disembodied voices conversed in hushed tones, creating an ethereal cacophony that reverberated through the farmhouse like a spectral opera. Lucy Bell, with a mix of fear and fascination, watched as her once ordinary home transformed into a stage for the extraordinary. The children, caught between the realms of childhood innocence and spectral intrigue, struggled to comprehend the surreal events unfolding around them. In a bid to document the escalating paranormal phenomena, John Bell redoubled his efforts to maintain a ledger of the entity's manifestations. Each entry became a testament to the surreal nature of their existence, a chronicle of a haunting that seemed to defy rational explanation. The community, now fully aware of the relentless escalation of the supernatural, looked on with a mix of awe and trepidation. Whispers of the Bell Witch's exploits reached far beyond the town of Adams, drawing the attention of curious onlookers and investigators eager to unravel the mysteries that clung to the Bell family like an otherworldly aura. As the paranormal activity reached its zenith, the Bell farmhouse became a crucible where the mundane and the supernatural collided, forging a narrative that would resonate through the annals of history. The entity, having unveiled the full breadth of its spectral symphony, held the Bell family captive in a realm where reality and the ethereal danced in a macabre ballet of the unexplained. The once isolated farmhouse in Adams, Tennessee, now stood at the epicenter of a supernatural spectacle that transcended the confines of its rural setting. The whispers that had started as a local curiosity had transformed into a crescendo of paranormal activity, drawing the attention of the wider world beyond the town's borders. Word of the Bell Witch and its spectral symphony reached the ears of journalists and storytellers, eager to capture the essence of the supernatural. Newspapers carried sensationalized accounts, and ink on the printing press bore witness to the tales of a haunted farmhouse, where the veil between the living and the spectral had grown thin. Reporters descended upon the Bell family like a swarm of curious bees, armed with notepads and a hunger for the sensational. The farmhouse, once a haven for the Bell family, now became a stage for interviews and investigations. Lucy Bell, the reluctant matron of this paranormal drama, found herself thrust into the spotlight, her every word and gesture scrutinized by an audience hungry for the macabre. Photographers captured the haunted visage of the farmhouse against the backdrop of the Tennessee landscape, the eerie glow of the moon casting shadows that seemed to dance in harmony with the supernatural forces at play. The entity, embracing its newfound notoriety, seemed to revel in the attention, manifesting itself in increasingly elaborate displays that left both observers and the Bell family in awe. The air buzzed with speculation as skeptics and believers alike offered their interpretations of the events. The once quiet town of Adams transformed into a pilgrimage site for those seeking a glimpse of the otherworldly. Strangers, drawn by the allure of the paranormal, flocked to the Bell farm, their collective breaths held in anticipation of witnessing the spectral wonders that had become the stuff of legend. The media circus, however, brought with it a double-edged sword. While it elevated the Bell family to an almost mythical status, it also invited skepticism and scrutiny. Critics questioned the authenticity of the haunting, dismissing it as a well-orchestrated hoax or a manifestation of collective hysteria. As the Bell farmhouse became a spectacle for the world to behold, the family found themselves caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The supernatural, once a private struggle, now unfolded on a public stage where the line between truth and embellishment blurred. The Bell Witch, ever enigmatic, seemed to feed on the attention, leaving the family to navigate the thin line between the allure of the supernatural and the harsh spotlight of public scrutiny. The Bell family, thrust into the public eye by the relentless media attention, now faced not only the spectral machinations of the Bell Witch, but also the legal and social consequences of their otherworldly predicament. Whispers of the haunting, carried by the wind and inked into newspaper columns, reached the ears of skeptics and those who questioned the authenticity of the supernatural claims. Legal disputes arose, casting shadows over the once unblemished reputation of the Bell family. Doubters and skeptics, armed with skepticism and a thirst for exposing what they deemed a charade, accused the Bells of perpetuating a hoax for personal gain. Legal proceedings unfolded, with the family forced to defend themselves against claims that threatened not only their credibility, but also their very way of life. In the town of Adams, once a close-knit community bound by shared values, the Bell family found themselves facing social isolation. Neighbors, once quick to lend a helping hand, now regarded them with a mix of suspicion and disbelief. The whispers that once carried tales of a haunted farmhouse now murmured of deceit and manipulation. The legal battles, fought in courtrooms that seemed ill-equipped to adjudicate matters beyond the tangible, became a stage for the clash between belief and skepticism. Witnesses testified to the paranormal occurrences they had experienced, while skeptics sought to dismantle the credibility of the Bell family's narrative. Lucy Bell, once a pillar of strength, felt the weight of the accusations pressed down upon her. John Bell, the stoic patriarch, found himself defending not only his family's honor, but also the veracity of the supernatural events that had become an inextricable part of their existence. As the legal drama unfolded, the Bell Witch continued its spectral performances, seemingly indifferent to the human tribulations playing out in the earthly realm. The entity's capricious displays served as both a testament to the family's plight and a haunting reminder of a reality that transcended the confines of courtrooms and legal proceedings. The town, divided by belief and skepticism, stood witness to a chapter in the Bell family's saga, where the threads of reality and the paranormal intertwined. The once quiet farmhouse, now embroiled in legal and social turmoil, became a symbol of the thin veil that separated the tangible from the ethereal. The Bell family, caught in the crossfire of belief and skepticism, faced a daunting journey where the outcome remained as uncertain as the whispers in the wind. As legal battles raged and the social fabric of the community unraveled, the Bell family sought respite from the relentless torment of the Bell Witch. Desperation drove them to explore new avenues, each attempt at resolution a dance with the unseen forces that had entangled their lives. In their pursuit of relief, the family turned to spiritual leaders, mystics, and practitioners of the occult. The farmhouse became a sanctuary for an array of rituals, from ancient incantations to modern exorcisms. Yet the entity, as elusive as ever, seemed to mock their every effort, its presence undeterred by the varied tapestry of rituals woven within the walls. The Bell family, once united in the face of the supernatural, now found themselves grappling with internal discord. Disagreements over the best course of action strained familial bonds, as each member sought their own path to liberation from the ethereal chains that bound them. Outsiders, drawn by the legend of the Bell Witch, offered unsolicited advice and remedies. Charlatans and well-meaning enthusiasts alike arrived at the farmhouse, armed with talismans, herbs, and promises of liberation. Some claimed to commune with the spirits, while others prescribed elaborate ceremonies to appease the unseen forces. As the attempts at resolution unfolded, the Bell Witch's manifestations took on new and baffling forms. it seemed to adapt to the family's efforts, morphing its spectral symphony into an ever-evolving composition that defied predictability. The once hopeful family, now wearied by the unrelenting assault on their peace, felt the weight of their struggle deepen. Through the twists and turns of their journey, the Bell family began to question not only the nature of the haunting, but also the motives of the enigmatic entity. Was it a malevolent force intent on their torment, or a misunderstood spirit yearning for recognition and release? In the dance between resolution attempts and the whims of the unseen, the Bell family stood at a crossroads, their determination tested and their convictions challenged. The once haunted farmhouse, now a battleground of conflicting energies, bore witness to a struggle that transcended the tangible and ventured into the realm where the unseen forces of the supernatural clashed with the resilience of mortal hearts. In the quietude that followed the storm of resolution attempts, the Bell farmhouse stood as a testament to a haunting that defied closure. The entity, while momentarily subdued, lingered in the shadows, leaving the family to grapple with the enduring legacy of their otherworldly ordeal. The legal battles had reached a tentative resolution, with the Bell family weathering accusations and skepticism, but the scars of social isolation and fractured community bonds remained. Adams, once a haven of familiarity, now bore the echoes of a haunting that had transcended the confines of the Bell household. The family, having exhausted every conceivable avenue in their quest for peace, found solace in the mundane routines of life. The once turbulent nights gave way to a semblance of normalcy, yet the specter of the Bell Witch lingered, an unseen presence that cast a subtle shadow over their daily existence. As time passed, the legend of the Bell Witch took root in the annals of paranormal folklore. Stories of the haunting spread far beyond the confines of Adams, becoming a cautionary tale whispered around campfires and shared in hushed tones. The once quiet town found itself forever linked to a saga that blurred the lines between the supernatural and the tangible. The Bell family, having weathered the storm of the ethereal, emerged changed but resilient. Lucy, the matriarch, bore the weight of the haunting in the lines etched upon her face, yet her eyes held a quiet strength that spoke of a journey into the depths of the unknown. John, the patriarch, carried the scars of skepticism and legal battles, yet his resolve remained unbroken. The children, forever marked by their brush with the unseen, grew into adults whose lives bore the indelible imprint of a haunting that had shaped their formative years. They, too, carried the legacy of the Bell Witch into a world that oscillated between the realms of belief and skepticism. The once haunted farmhouse, now weathered by time and the residue of the supernatural, stood as a silent witness to a tale that had unfolded within its walls. The Bell Witch, having etched its spectral presence into the very fabric of the homestead, became a part of the legacy that the family carried forward. As the years rolled on and the whispers of the Bell Witch faded into the tapestry of local lore, the farmhouse remained a symbol of resilience in the face of the unknown. The entity, while lost to the passage of time, left behind a legacy that echoed through the corridors of the supernatural, a lingering reminder that some mysteries are destined to endure, casting their enigmatic shadows across the canvas of human experience.